Welcome everyone to the class of marketing research and analysis. Till date we have discussed about the introduction of market research, the steps of marketing research, followed by the different statistical techniques with hypothesis development, research question development, etc. Today we will discuss about the two more areas. One is which is very less discussed in markets. In fact, it is discussed, but companies have not put in much of importance, and it has been a neglected part, to which Professor C.K. Prahlad in his bottom of the pyramid approach, where he talks about how the market is like an inverted pyramid, and the base, right, the base is the biggest area, which is more which is the one which has got the large number of customers, right. But these customers, if I take into comparison, are the rural consumers basically, right. So the rural consumers are large, the size is very high, big, but somehow companies have been unable to tap it to a large extent. Okay. So why is rural market to be discussed first of all? So the first is it is a large market, there is no doubt about it. The next issue that comes is, if you see, rural markets have certain characteristics, right. So let us see the differences first. If you talk about the differences, if you look into urban and rural research vis-a-vis the urban and rural market as well, if you see, urban markets are more literate, brand aware, individuals are responsive, right. In the rural markets, on the other hand, you find that the individual is mostly it is not always, but mostly they are illiterate or less educated, you can say, unaware of many brands. But this is sometimes a very controversial thing, because it has been seen that the hypothesis that rural consumers are not brand conscious might not be very true, right. So willingness to respond, and in the urban life, people have very less time with them. On the other hand, if you go to a rural landscape, people have ample amount of time, they discuss, they spend their time with their families, relatives and all, right. So if you look at the differences in both urban and rural research, so these are some of the primary characteristics, aspects, like the time, the accessibility. For example, in urban it is easy to access, but as rural it is tough because of the geographical problems, the cultural problems, right. For example, there are some places, many places in India, or for example, if you go to collect data from the rural part, it is very tough, because you might not find a very responsive respondent out there, right. Then in the urban side, if you see, the sample is more homogeneous, right, and income can be taken as a criteria, for example, in the urban when you discuss. On the rural, the interesting part is, a person is known wealthy by the amount of land he holds, okay, or the number of cattle he holds. So the parameters of judging wealth is also different, right. So these are basically some of the differences that you talk about when you discuss about the urban and rural research. Urban research has been vastly researched, and companies, national companies, MNCs, international companies have all tried to find out ways to permeate into the, or percolate into the Indian markets or the other markets, in the rural markets, in the urban markets. But maybe if you look at the penetration of banks into the rural India or any rural sphere, it is very less, except the public sector banks. You do not find much of private sectors, because simple is they do not find it to be very profitable in nature. So the question is the rural market really something that is not very profitable, or not to be looked up to, and they should be avoided? So let us see what, this is a problem of something else, that is where the discussion comes is maybe companies have been unable, or maybe less innovative, to find ways to cater to this rural base. Okay. So what are the challenges? Low literacy levels, as I said, right. So people are not very literate, right. then they do not have a exposure to media, but these things are slowly changing. For example, at least in India, the media exposure is slowly improving, but we obviously cannot compare it with the urban places, but still the media exposure is comparatively lesser. Brand awareness, as I said, it is controversial, but yes, most of the brands, they are launched into the obviously because of the awareness, because of the paying ability and all these things, they are generally launched in the urban markets. Local language communication becomes a big problem, right. For example, in the urban this is not an issue, language is not an issue, they can talk in the most general language, that is English or the national language Hindi or something. But in rural, the dialect in India, you should know that in India every 26 kilometers there is a saying the dialect changes, right. Now that becomes very difficult for somebody to cater to a market where the communication is so vastly changing, right. Then and the villages are so remote, and sometimes they are so the scale of economy becomes a question also, they are scattered and small. So apart from reaching, it also becomes a question ki whether would it be economical to cater to such a market. Then you have lot of social taboos in the rural markets, right. For example, if you go to a state like Haryana or somewhere, why Haryana? Many states in India. If you want to directly talk to some of the women respondents, then it is very difficult. Rajasthan, UP, Haryana, anything, right. Timing of the interviews, right. The timing is also different because people usually go to the land for cultivation and all these things for agriculture very early in the morning, right. So the timings are different, right. So these are some of the issues that are very important when you discuss about the rural markets. Now two cases we can see how qualitative research and quantitative research is used in the rural market. To my experience, I have seen that qualitative research works much better and easier than quantitative research, just for the reason that the people are mostly illiterate, right. So they do not understand your numbers well. This is the case where it says BSNL might, this is a quantitative research, BSNL might ask its customers, BSNL is a government organization, so its reach is into the deepest, remotest villages also, right. So it asks its customers to rate the overall service, right. So such techniques can be used, but the efficacy of such techniques are questionable. Another is, if you look at the other side, is the qualitative research. Now in the qualitative research, for example HUL, Hindustan Unilever Limited, they may stop a consumer who has purchased Lux and ask him or her why he or she has chosen the soap. Now when you ask why somebody is choosing it, the reasons could be quite different, right. So by understanding the reason the respondent is citing, one can make an understanding ki what exactly the rural customer thinks, right. So qualitative research can be done in the which, as I said, is more successful in the rural markets through observation, through interviews. You can interact with the rural consumers through maybe group discussion. For example, if you are talking about fertilizers, tractors kind of products, so you can have a group discussion among the people, right, or a focus group discussion, that means, right, and you can find out ki how do they purchase, right, how do the rural consumers purchase, for example the products. A very interesting case I will give you. This was done by one of the companies, I am not citing the company. This company's representative, what he did was to popularize his products in the rural market, his fertilizers. So what he did was he sat down in the near a hart. The hart is the place where the market, rural markets are called harts basically. So he sat down there and he brought some of the most big sized vegetables, right, and he connected it to the bags, he tied it to the bags of the the fertilizers, and he then connected it with some balloons kind of things, so that to make it colorful and attractive for the people to come down and watch it, what is happening. So when he did that, people came by getting an attraction towards the balloons and all, and then when they found, they were surprised by the size of the vegetables, for example the pumpkin, the brinjal or something. So when they were surprised, they said, how is it that it is so big? So automatically the marketing guy, being smart, he said, this is because of this fertilizer. So this is how the rural market works, right? So these people, they are very simple, they go by the face value sometimes, right? So they understand by what they see, okay. So participatory research methods are also very popular, we will see, okay. Okay, some of the secondary data sources. Secondary data sources are equally important, because all the while you cannot go into a primary study. So if there is some data available already with you, then why not avail it, right. So there are some of the industry associations are like, for example, the trade associations like FICCI, right, CII, Indian Industries, Confederation of Indian Industries, Ashokam, market research agencies like MART, right, Sampark, Rural Marketing Association of India. Companies do their own research also, like Colgate, HUL, Rallies India, ITC, which are mostly they have entered into the rural market in a big way. These are some of the companies, Rallies India being a Tata group and all, they have penetrated into the Indian rural landscape very nicely. Some of the NGOs and other government agencies. So these people have done enough of research in the rural markets, and the data are available with them, right. Other educational institutes are also there. Even O&M also does its own, I know they do their own rural research, right, in a big way. So there are some of the major sources providing rural data. For example, if you want to know what are the sources from where I can get the rural data, these are some of the sources. The earlier one was the bodies, and the other sources, the Census of India, the National Council for Applied Economic Research, NCAER, then NSSO, National Sample Survey Organization, then District Rural Development Authority, Integrated Child Development Scheme. So these are some schemes, some of the sources from where you can get the rural data, right. Okay. Now you see the rural market is more heterogeneous in nature. Now why? Because the disparity of wealth is quite high. Sometimes you find people very poor, and sometimes there are people who are rich landlords, okay. So in some places toothpaste and soap are luxuries, when in some places it is a necessity, right. So you look at some of the examples, there are some of the examples. In the case of Haryana and Punjab, Haryana is a state and Punjab are two states in India. So where lassi, you see the use of the products. Now the washing machines are being used for making lassi. So a company who sells washing machines can also make it a kind of a market for it, right, can think of it as a market, right. So there are other examples. For example, if you look at this, now one has to understand, any marketer or anybody, if you want to understand the rural market, you have to understand that the rural consumer behavior is quite different, right, their habits are quite different. Now in some parts of Rajasthan, for example, utensils are cleaned with ash and sand. Now why is it? Because there is a water scarcity, right. So washing powder would face stiff competition from the alternatives that need very little water. So now it is a challenge for any marketer to innovate or devise a product which can use less water, and then only the people will appreciate it, right. So again, in places where there is hard water, right, in Rajasthan, many places, Bikaner is in Rajasthan, so you find there is a low acceptance of soap, because the soap does not work, because the water is too hard, right. Okay. Now how do you sample in the rural areas? Okay, sampling in the rural areas can be, the researcher has to be very smart enough to understand what is your objective of the study, and according to your objective of the study, you have to find out what exactly who are you looking to. So what is your respondent, who is a respondent, who is a sample, will decide accordingly. Now one is, as I have told you earlier also, in rural market research says that land holding is an indicator of wealth and income, and it is not about how much money you have in a bank or something, but it is how much of land you have, right. In the urban context, maybe income works, right. So land holding has to be balanced. So, there are some of the things when you are looking in the sample, you have to understand who exactly would be your consumer, because as I said, there is a lot of heterogeneity in the rural market. So, you have to understand who exactly could be my possible consumers. So, once the companies can understand this, then accordingly they can find the right respondents. Okay. Now, the village sampling, for example, area sampling, we have already discussed area sampling, cluster sampling. So, because the rural markets are scattered, they are small, and they are dispersed. So, you can the researcher or the marketer can think of making a cluster of villages as also a single unit, right. So, it could be selected, villages could be selected on the basis of population, proximity or accessibility to remote to highways or something, occupation profile, what is the main profile of the people in that village, right. Religion works very importantly, at least in a country like India. So, one has to be very clear कि when you are trying to go to sell a product, whether the religious sentiments would have an effect on it or not, right. So, that has to be seen. Similarly, you want to understand when you talk about rural markets, you just cannot go with a similar mindset that you have for urban markets, right. Now, for urban markets your data collection is more simpler, but for rural markets you have to be extremely careful while you are collecting the data. Now, because the respondent might be less educated, he might not understand your thought process as well. So, and so there are several problems, right. So, it has been seen that earlier several sophisticated tools failed to evoke or generate the required response in the rural markets. So, companies thought their ideas would be good, brilliant, and they would be accepted, but in rural markets they bombed, they failed. Okay. So, detailed questions, similarly when people make detailed questions it might not work well in the rural market, because the rural consumer would not be interested to read it in detail, right. So, is there any other way? Now, yes, rural consumers are more comfortable with color, picture, stories. So, one which I gave you an example of, that fertilizer, is a case of something similar. So, visibility. So, how you can attract the consumer? They are comfortable with colors. So, the balloons are red, blue, yellow, green maybe, so that attracted them, right. So, when you talk about getting data from rural market, you can use a continuous scale, right, give them a length and say ki how this is 0, this is suppose the full, this is 0, this is the full. So, where do you want to place it as per satisfaction? So, they might be able to give you some response, or you can give them graphical or face, faces. For example, some smiling face, suppose how do you like this fertilizer, or how do you like this tractor? Somebody smile, there is a smiling face, there is a crying face, there is a highly satisfied face. So, the person can pick it or give his opinion accordingly. So, when he does that, automatically you realize ki well, this is what he wants to say. Okay. Rural researchers make use of participatory research methods. Okay. So, we understood now that in the rural market your data collection techniques have to be smart enough. I would not use the word any other word, because I would say it is smart, right. So, if you want to do it similarly as you were doing in the urban, it would not work, right. So, what are the different techniques? So, secondary data sources are already there. So, different bodies are there, I just told. Then observation. Now, observation method is a very important method in the rural markets, because when people cannot speak their mind, what is in their mind, it is better to observe them ki how they are selecting something or how they are responding to something, right. So, that becomes a very important way of understanding or data collection. Interviews, diagrams, right, making different faces, stories, pictures, and asking them to how do you relate with it or something like this. So, all these different techniques are more into is a method of understanding his psychology. Okay, psychology. So, if you can understand the psychology, it is better, you would get a better response or the data collection. Okay, the data collection would be more simpler. Okay. So, if you remember, we had also discussed about thematic perception test, story writing, sentence completion, word completion. So, those kind of techniques are more popular, qualitative research parts are more popular in rural markets. So, what is this participatory rural appraisal? It is a data collection technique that gets the participants of the process, research process, to be actively involved in the research. So, it is as good as, suppose a company wants to know how people would buy, they would ask the person to come and select their products, right. They would keep a large number of products, not necessarily only their products, their competitors' products also, and then they would be asked to select the product and say and finally say why did they select these products, right. So, by participating they are more vocal and they speak better and more clearer. Okay. So, it is a method which enables rural people to share, enhance and analyze the knowledge of life and conditions to plan and to act. Therefore, it arouses the curiosity of the people and they voluntarily and eagerly get involved in the process. So, that is what you can't expect them. Rural people, as I said, they are very they are more or less they are honest and they do not get into too much of complexities. So, once they are involved in the process, once they are a part of the process, then they explain the process more clearly why and how they did it. Okay. Okay. So, these are some of the things which happens. So, I am not getting into this. In participatory rural appraisal and focus group discussion, there is a small difference. There is a difference between the two. Like this is the PRA is more heterogeneous in nature, ensuring participation from all walks of life. So, people, it is not necessary that a particular kind of respondent would be selected, which is there in a focus group discussion, right. So, typically small and homogeneous groups, but that is not in the case of PRA. And similarly, people who are good in speaking generally are part of the focus group discussion, but it is not the case in case of a PRA, right. Moderator's role is almost negligible in the participatory approach, right, rural approach appraisal. And in the case of the focus group discussion, the moderator plays a very important role, because he is the one who is going to moderate to still an unanimous decision is to be arrived. Okay. So, there are some of the differences between the two. Okay. So, what are the key principles of the participatory rural appraisal? The first is participation and empowerment. It relies heavily on participation by the communities, right. It is very flexible. So, you might not use only one method of data collection, but you can use a multiple number of data collection methods. Okay. So, by doing that, what happens is automatically your data collection approach becomes more richer and more flexible. Okay. Teamwork, optimal ignorance. So, it avoids unnecessary details and irrelevant data. So, data which is not of vital importance to the research study can be ignored. Okay. So, these are some of the characteristics, the key principles of the inclusiveness. It is this research method allows researcher to involve various kinds of people. So, people who might be your consumer or might not be a consumer would also be part of the participatory rural appraisal, right. But there is a drawback, like for example, time deadliness. So, insufficient time is allowed for the team to relax and mingle with the local people to listen to them. Since the number is not defined, it could be a large number. So, giving time to individuals becomes and understanding them might sometimes become very difficult. Okay. Credibility is sometimes questionable, but then still it is much better, is a very powerful technique, right. So, these are some of the things. Okay. Now, while designing, suppose you have understood that rural markets, this is how it functions. Now, I have to collect the data. So, I have to maybe make a instrument, a questionnaire. So, while making the instrument or the questionnaire, you need to understand that the question should be simple and direct. You should not be making it very complicated for the rural markets, because it is not required. The question should be self-explanatory. It should be easy, right, not ambiguous at all, right. So, these are some of the things that one has to understand. and most importantly the question should be in the local language. If you want to translate it all the while, the accuracy of translation should be checked by persons from the same region. Suppose you have collected data, then you have to collect from their local, in the local language, and then while transferring or translating you need to ensure it with the with the knowledge of the person who has got the knowledge of that particular language. Okay. So this is very important, that whenever you do a rural research, you have to be very, very clear that the local language needs to be kept in mind. Okay. So these are some of the guidelines for the research investigators. Appearance, for example, it should be simple and culturally bound, because rural people are very sensitive to culture. So if they do not connect with you, they will not open up, they will not participate. Okay. So greetings, right? A courteous greeting with respect to age mentioning in a relationship is very important. Language, speaking in the local language is extremely important, we already discussed. So there are some of the things like be slow in the questioning and getting responses. When you are conducting a research, you cannot be as fast as you are in the urban conditions, because here the people are slow, they have their own space, their own time, so they are not in a hurry. So if you are in a hurry, then they might not appreciate it, okay, and they might not even give you the true picture. So encourage group interaction, right, after gaining trust, and there are some of the things. What shouldn't you do? Don't pretend, avoid direct inquiry, do not touch. Sometimes touching the arm or placing the hand on the shoulder might not be desirable, right. Avoid suspicious behaviors. Villagers are traditional in their outlook, so male researchers should not talk to women without a female assistant. So if you are speaking to some woman and you are a male, directly if you do that, then you might be into you will be into trouble, so you should avoid it. Don't get controversial. So you need not, when you get into rural research, you need not discuss about the village politics, you do not need to get into any heated argument or disputes, right. What should be the rural researcher's characteristic? He should have a mindset to think like a rural villager, right, and constantly evaluating the responses. Effective communication, so more effective communication to elicit accurate responses in the rural research, right. Then he should have the ability to when to ask a question, specific question, and when to finish it. So you should know how should I, when should I bring in a question and a new idea, and how do I finish it. So sensitive issues need to be handled very delicately. Sorry, the memory has to be good enough, because all the time you might not be able to write, or you are even not advised to write, because they might become little scared, because they have been living the life of a different life. So when you write, they feel that their information might go to somebody which is not desirable or not good for them. So one should avoid this situation. And patience finally. Now coming to the colors and association. So as I said, rural villagers or rural people are more open when they understand you much better, when they look at when you ask questions, the questions has to be in a local dialect, or when you are using colors they become more attracted, right. So for example, this is a research thing which has been said. Now instead of giving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as numbers which they might not understand, if you give it red, orange, yellow, light green and dark green, that means the same to them more or less, because red is 1, it is a danger, orange is setting sun, end of the day 2, yellow represents dry sand or a dry field 3, light green is not a very good crop 4, and dark green is very good crop 5. So one is to understand how we want to conduct the rural research. So what are the right locations for conducting the research, rural research? The best places are the shops and the places where people are coming for a discussion, for a relaxation, right. So, if you get hold of people, discuss with them, they are more free and open to your ideas. Okay. Tea stall, playgrounds, chopal, where the majorly the discussion happens, and even in heart. So, these are some of the places where the research can be, rural research can be conducted. Okay. Well, this is all that I discussed about rural research, but again let me tell you one thing, that rural research can be very successful to improve the bottom line of companies. Companies like LG have done it extremely nicely, extremely well, by introducing the brand of TV like Sampurna and Cineplus, which they brought into the rural market. They brought even washing machine and refrigerators, looking at the rural people's need and their want. So, when you can do these kind of designs, even recently ICICI, they tied up with some of the dairy companies to sell their insurance policies, right. So, the question is, rural market is there, it is large, it is hugely available, but the question is, it is still not attractive for some marketers, because they feel it is too scattered and there is not an economy of scale, and they do not find that the same standardized product could be possibly sold. But yeah, that is possible, very much possible, but one has to understand that 70% of the market still lives in the rural India, right. So, if you want to be, if you want to open up, if you want to increase your bottom line, your profits, every marketer has to understand the requirement and need of the rural consumers, and accordingly develop products for them and sell it to them, right. For example, Maruti came up with a very interesting idea to they associated the sales of a car with a Brahmin. Now, Brahmin means the one who breaks a coconut to make it more auspicious, right. So, by doing such things, Mahindra and Mahindra recently did one good thing. They said not only the vehicle, but the health of the driver who is running the vehicle is also equally important to them. So, by having such slogans, such things, they have they made it very attractive to the rural consumers. So, this is what we have for the rural market research. Thank you very much.